options of things. And then tomorrow, sorry, Cole, I'm really all over the place. Okay, I'm gonna go back to what's happening tomorrow. Okay. Cole loves it when I do that. We have a class taught by Kylie. Kylie and Azure of Homefront are not here today, but the class tomorrow is investor financing options and then lending options for business owners. So a really good course. Please register for that. It's sponsored by Fidelity Title for Food. But lots of different lending options for people that have different types of income and, self-employed, different options there. So that should be a great class. And then on Thursday, our culture committee is really crushing it, right? Led by Felicity and Julie. They are doing a agent happy hour. So at McMinimum's down the road. And again, this is super casual, not like a formal agenda or hosted or anything. You just show up and have happy hour together. So it's really that simple. Also, we want to welcome a guest, Joyce Marie, who is studying for her exam and just coming to check us out. So welcome in. Felicity, we just talked about the happy hour. Anything we want to add?
Leave time block. Is it so important? Come and unwind with us with the very difference.
I love it, and I love that you dropped the time block. Paul?
I went to the last happy hour and it changed the trajectory of my life.
Boom.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's what my
I'm saying, it's not just like, a bunch of BS. It actually can change your life. Go.
Yay! Thank you. Not because of the margarita, because of the company.
I love margarita.
If you come, he'll tell you what he learned. Right?
That's good. Okay.
Day is coming up. So this is our one day a year where we close and we all volunteer and give back within the community. Hopefully you guys all registered because Amber ordered t-shirts yesterday. If you did not register, but you still want to come, go talk to Amber and we'll see what we can do. She can maybe do it. We have a couple extras. But please go talk to Amber just so we have a count for the day of, and we ordered shirts and stuff. It's not too late, but typically the shirts do take about 2 weeks. So we like to get them ordered with enough time in advance. So we're volunteering at the Birch Community Services, which is we're going to be doing some food preparation and there'll be some other information I'll send out. So that's why it is important that you register. Probably have to wear like closed-toe shoes and a hairnet or whatever, and then following that, we're going to go have happy hour. We'll come back to this side of town and have happy hour at Bricks all together. We'll have like lots of food, drinks, a whole reserved area. So that's also fun to stay.
Do we know what we're going to be participating at Birch?
I know we're going to be doing something related to like food preparation, similar to what we've done at the food bank, right? Because like just getting ready, big shipments of food ready to disperse out. But I'll know more information as it gets a little bit closer, and I'll send out information. And then save the date. Our summer picnic is going to be this year at Lee Farms, and we have a band booked. It's going to be lots of fun, family friendly. So just save the date. I know people are already starting to make summer plans. So a lot more details to come on that, but save the date, July 17th, 6 to 9. And it is just so fun. It's going to be a great time. It's right down the road. Oh, yes.
Tomorrow's class, the investor, it says in the calendar, it starts at 11, but then this slide says 12.
It starts at 11.
It's at 11.
Oh,
That's right.
that's the way. It's 11 to 12. I see. That's okay. It's 11 to 12. Lunch provided. So thank you for clarifying. And that should be a good class.
And so the picnic starts at 6.
Yes, is that too late?
No, she does not think that. What would it?
It's a Friday.
It's party. It's like party. Party picnic.
Is it cool or?
Long days in the summertime.
My bedtime is 9 p.m.
Like significant stuff to like get home from work or.
Last call is.
I'm gonna time block, I guess. Bedtime, yeah.
Five.
The night before or whatever.
I think it's gonna be cooler at 6.
No, we'll talk offline. Frederick, did you have a question?
No.
Oh,
I was just
Oh, you're
excited
just
for
raging
evening.
through.
I'm just excited. I'm like, I don't know what time it is. I'll be.
It's so fun. It's fun for like kids. It's fun if you don't have kids. You know, it's fun for everyone.
No RSVP, just show up.
We know there's going to be RSVPs and lots more details. This is just like a save the date because summer's like already getting crazy. Okay. And then haves and wants. So keep updating these. The J Hill Property Group has a Villa Bois listing coming soon. That's a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath for $575. So that seems like good bang for your buck. And then they also have all of these are coming soon. So see, this is great. 2 other 3-bedroom, 2.5 baths, and a custom home built on 5 acres, 3-bedroom, 3 baths. So in Damascus, and then in Canby, coming soon, an updated split level with RV parking for $550. So all over different price points and offerings. So talk to Jenny and the J Hill Property Group if you have any people that could be interested in any of those. And then Linda Heinrichs has a dual living opportunity on Southeast 108 for around 600,000. She has a house by Mountainside High School on almost 2 acres. And then she has a client that is looking for a home with 0.75 to 2 acres near I-205 in Stafford, Wilsonville, Tualatin, around $1 million. And then she also is looking for something in the Palisades area around $1 million. So if you have anything that matches those coming soon, connect with Linda or Jenny, and then just a reminder to keep updating your haves and wants, and we'll keep sharing those with you guys. And then home friends, they're not here, but pop up those rates real quick just so we can see what they're doing. So 30-year conventional is at 6.625 and 30-year FHA is 5.75, and then with 2-point buy downs, you can kind of see what gets you under 6 for 30-year and 5.25 for FHA. So if you have any lending questions, reach out to them, or if you just want some different options, and Kylie will be here tomorrow for the class as well. And now we have, oh yes, we have a new photography partner. For those of you guys that know Austin Bean, he was an agent here, and he has a photography company. He's done some listing photography for some of you guys I know, and gals. He's done some headshots. But we're officially partnering with him to be our our go-to person. So he has some really good pricing just for our agents. What I think called do you have? Oh wait, you have a flyer in front of you guys, right? So there's some specific promos and options just for KW agents, but there's some really good pricing packages, and then lots of different options for our commercial agents, drone add-ons, and different things like that. And then if you scan that code, there's a and put in the promo code first flight, you can lock in.
So,
and one quick thing with this promo code as well too, the shoot doesn't have to be before Memorial Day. You just have to book it before Memorial Day in order to get that full year price locked in.
okay. I love it. But yeah, Austin's great partner for headshots, everything. So we're
also start bringing back the maybe monthly headshots into the office, where the office will pay for those for you guys to just kind of get 1 or 2 headshots. It won't be like your full 50 shot spread, but it'll be a couple just to keep those fresh. And so I think we actually have one on the calendar right now for May 28th if you're needing to refresh. So more information about that soon, but we'll keep doing that now every month so you can get some fresh complimentary headshots sponsored by the office. And then now we're on to our commercial minute before we get to our special guest, Wally. But Cameron,
office, really exciting.
we love the commercial minute. We don't have to go.
You invite Wally to afterwards. He's actually my executive coach. He's a good guy.
I was wondering where you're.
Reactive.
Oh yeah, it should be done.
Okay, office exciting, right? Opportunity or opportunistic is how I describe the office market, mainly when we're talking about the city of Portland. Within our commercial team, I don't want to be too negative about office because you probably hear it, read it, it's in articles all the time. especially in the CBD of downtown. But I will show you the list of comps over the last year of buildings. Like there are family offices, there are local investors. You've probably heard the name Jeff Swickard buying Big Pink and a couple of he's continuing to buy more and more. So in the commercial real estate world, we like to think that's a positive thing. It's at least resetting different property bases. A lot of companies and portfolio owners are going back in and getting property taxes reset. Probably it's not good for the county, but at least from an opportunistic perspective, it's looking good.
Wait, what's CBD?
Central Business District of Portland. So it's like mainly you're thinking of something else. Okay. It includes multi-tenant, single-tenant, medical office. Sometimes in that flex world, flex usually refers to something that's like light industrial / office. Usually has some sort of like little warehouse component. We're kind of in that world where we are here in this office today. Co-working spaces can be included as well. Usually Class A, Class B, and Class C are the most common. Class A being like your law office downtown. It's almost always like big glass, premium views, all that kind of stuff. And then it works down to Class C, which is a little bit more dated, lower rent, less desirable location. Primary method for valuation is your value equals NOI. We've talked about this before. Your net operating income divided by the cap rate. So you're looking at income approach for office. So we'll get to that when we look at some of the comps. If you have a building that's empty or 25% occupied, it's a very different valuation than a building that's 70% occupied. And we'll go through a couple of those examples in the list. What drives the most value in office is going to be your tenants. This is why tenant rep office brokers historically, when the market is doing well, make a lot of money. They usually charge a lot higher percentages than a typical tenant rep deal that you'd find even in the suburbs. Vacancy rollover, like everything. Valuation is mainly focused on your rent roll, which is basically like each suite that you have. When are leases expiring? How many options to extend do they have? What are the percent increases each year? Like all those little components of the lease. That's what creates value in an office property. But those are also the investors and developers that, again, historically make the most money are office deals. And that's, when we look at our list of office buildings that are happening, we talked about Big Pink last year. It actually sold and transacted for an eighth of the price that it was appraised at. So in theory, Portland market comes back and they're back at that same value or even 70% of that value, and he's made a lot of money. Talk about a couple of these. Oh, lease rates. I'll mention, if you ever look on Prexy, LoopNet online for those sources, you'll see full service, modified gross, and triple net. And we can go into those in a lot more detail, maybe in another breakout, but full service means that the rate that you're seeing is all inclusive. It includes all of the expenses. It's your full service gross rate. Then there's modified gross, which is somewhere in between. And then triple net means that the tenant is paying for all the expenses, including taxes and insurance.
I'm so sorry. So for the full service, does it mean everything is already included that I see? Or if modifications need to be made, then the full service includes the modification that I need to be.
There are sometimes slight modifications and they still call them full service, but there are a lot of deals that are more, they'll call them something that's modified gross.
Yeah.
But it can actually operate very, very similar to a full service. But most full service are like your downtown office buildings where you have a building owner, it's institutional, and they even include janitorial, several days, nights a week, because because they have so many different tenants, right? They have 100 tenants. Yeah. So they get economies of scale. They don't put everything on you, and it's actually, better for all parties because then they can, work with you on rate concessions and all.
Versus like our building, we have a triple net, so like if the HVAC breaks, we pay for it or
Yes.
like that.
Except for like the structure and the roof, landlord would be responsible for. not a lot of financing going on for office buildings. Some of these are a little bit more historical. You will see usable versus rentable. Usable is the actual space that the tenant physically occupies, rentable being usable plus the common areas. They divide up the pro rata share and they call that your rentable square footage. You'll notice, right, in order to qualify as stabilized, you need like 85. Sometimes that could be a little lower if you've got other like value plays that you're trying to make the argument for. But I mean, you need to be 85, 90% occupied. Okay. And here's our list of 7 comps that I just looked at.
Can you get 100% financing if you owner occupy like 51% of the building, so on and so forth? Or is that all passe?
Great question.
I know.
That does exist. It does exist.
Yeah.
I just did 100% financing deal in Lake Oswego for a plumber. But I mean, we're talking about not in the city of Portland. We're talking about owner user, meaning that the business owner is occupying the entire property and they could go get financing for it. You also see it in medical office, like dentists can get 0%. Like in the SBA, Small Business Administration loans in that like 10% range. Just kind of crazy. Okay, so you might be, I think one of the most recent ones is 200 Southwest Market. They call it the Black Box Building. Again, Jeff Swickard partnered with a local reputable company called Melvin Mark Investors downtown to do that. Notice the price per square foot, right? That's the highest. That's the highest of the entire list, right? A lot of the others, 37, 33, 75, 43, 39. Like those are so far below replacement costs, it's laughable.
Huh.
Includes Big Pink, right? Item number 3 on the list. When it sold in July of 2025. Again, you'll see Jeff Swickard a couple times, Menashe Properties a couple times. But mostly local groups like family offices, regional players that are buying these. And they're buying them all cash. They're not getting loans. And they're doing some repositioning plays. Pretty interesting, but you'll notice $175 a foot on the black box. Does anyone have an idea why that one is a little higher per square foot?
I'm guessing to have higher occupancy.
Yes. Yeah. So the occupancy, they've done really well for the last 5 years at maintaining a pretty high occupancy. So they're actually around 70% occupied. So it's still not stabilized, but it is more stabilized than a lot of office in Portland. So that was seen in a positive light, which is why, so $175 a foot, they're not buying it. They're not looking at comps and being like, I'm going to buy it on a per square foot basis. They bought that based on the cash flow that
I
it's
have
today.
just a
Yeah.
question, like for the future, I don't know if it's interesting to anybody else, but is there an opportunity to maybe have a short class or something with you guys on, because sometimes, very rarely, we talk with people and they're like, oh, we might be looking for something in the commercial space, but we need to find something, now they say, that pencils. And I'm like, wow, that sounds great.
Yeah.
So for me, like if there would be an opportunity sometime in the future, just to have a quick class on like a few minutes of like, if you can just show like, what does that mean? And how would I, on a super quick, without getting super in detail, know like for investment properties or commercial stuff, like how that pencils out?
Yeah. We'll definitely do that.
Yeah.
That is a very ambiguous statement. So normally if we hear we're in the market looking for a good deal, I usually don't pursue that opportunity because
Yes.
everyone wants it. There's hundreds, thousands of commercial buyers that want a good deal.
It's like, but if somebody says to me, like, oh yeah, like as long as it pencils, I'm not 100% sure what that means. I'm assuming they make money, but I don't know how they would calculate it.
Yeah.
So
That's a great point. And usually you're looking at rates for the asset class and making sure that the loan that you're getting for a traditional stabilized loan is you're at least making a little money or covering costs.
And then I say, oh my God, you're so lucky because I'm gonna connect you with our incredible commercial division at the office.
Yes, Bradley.
What do you think the reconstruction cost is of office buildings like this? If you had to
What's a
guess?
reconstruction?
Oh my God.
Just for perspective.
Oh my God. A lot. At least $500 a foot, if not a lot more.
Wow.
And usually and And a big portion of that is finishes. So
Oh.
like that could be to build the shell
This is interesting. Mhm.
brand new today. But if you want to add really nice high end, law office on one of the floors that's got a big foyer and all that, that could be $200 a foot on top of it.
Just that why you opened with, there is some really good opportunity.
So yeah, so a lot of people do see it as opportunity, but there's, and I mentioned this when we were talking about hospitality. I mean, hospitality and office are probably the two that are struggling the most in the CBD, in the core of Portland, and they're creating massive opportunities. I know of several hotels and several office buildings that are under contract right now at similar price points that we're talking about. But there are others that are a little bit higher. I don't have it on the list. I'm forgetting the name of the restaurant, but a restaurant just bought.
Who said that?
Who said that? I don't know.
Say it. Something about Henry's that.
There was another restaurant that just purchased a building that was mixed use. So it had office above and it had a restaurant below.
Oh,
and if you look at the comps for that, they paid a little bit higher than what buildings, the opportunistic pricing that buildings are. So it's an opportunity for them, and they've been leasing in downtown Portland for a decade.
So-
For them to own their space now, this is the time to buy.
Overall, and
Luck?
just a
Yes.
rough thing, like if we're talking about the commercial space in this Portland CBD, how is it doing? What's the projection compared to like the residential market? Like, is it slow? Is there lots of vacancies? Because I feel like I'm imagining like half of the retail stores are empty and all of this. Like, what would
Yeah.
you say just for a market status?
Yeah, hard thing to answer. I try to attend, and listen to webinars, and there's all sorts of stuff in the commercial world, different organizations like ULI and NAOP and others that it seems like there's several steps forward and then a couple back. So there's a lot of mixed
So there's lots
reviews,
of
but from like a data perspective, it seems to be improving. There's like if you were to read the market reports for office, they'll talk about leases that are happening, and they'll talk about the shadow vacancy, which is basically like the people that have a bunch of space but don't have it actually fully occupied. Like they're stuck in a lease for 3 more years, but they only have 50% of their workforce that they had in 2019.
Right.
That the rest of that 50% of space is called that like shadow vacancy. It's really hard to get an exact number on what that means. But the sublease, there's still a lot of space available in the CBD. It's like 30% vacant. This is a very high number. It's not stabilized. It's not a healthy office market.
So for instance, like just using Big Pink as an example, just to get some kind of like experiential. So he bought it for really affordably. Is that leasing now? I mean, is that what's happening with that?
Yeah, I missed. They just did a presentation. They hired 2 brokerage companies, actually, local regional group, Kidder Matthews, and one of the big boys, I think it's JLL, to do a partnership on the leasing. And it seems like they're being aggressive on concessions, and they had a couple tenants that are signing, but I don't have the latest on that.
Okay.
In Montgomery Park too, Menashe bought that one out a while back, and that one seems to be making progress. But again, they bought it for
I know it does. They don't need it, but I'm
Joe's
curious.
price.
Yeah,
$43 a foot. Like literally that one, I think it's on like 14 acres. Like if you do the land price number, it works. Like if there's no building on that and you just look at the land pricing, it was still a good purchase for Montgomery Park.
Okay.
So like I like that one at that price.
I just like when you said like overall, right? Like that we are tentatively going in a positive direction overall, right? Because I mean, we just had that conversation the other day with like people moving into Oregon, and why do people currently would move into Oregon? So as long as like we get a little bit of commercial infill again, and like companies coming in instead of moving out, like that at least leaves me full.
Yeah.
Well,
The metro outside of the city of Portland, is still coming along. So it's carrying the weight of Portland at the moment. But I can't tell you how many people are saying like requirements. People are like, hey, we want to buy, investors want to buy, but not city of Portland. Like that is the asterisk in almost every like investment conversation that we have. Sorry, I keep interrupting.
I didn't mean to interrupt. They just announced today that Nordstrom's closing its doors. So. It looks like
Oh, really?
Nordstrom Rack. So I was just gonna
No,
suggest,
great.
maybe someone wants to
Well,
look
I
into
wanted to end
that.
on a positive note, but.
Yeah, I better go there and get some more shirts before they
Yes.
go.
But anyway, I'm way past my time, but we will schedule something maybe to talk about what you asked about with penciling.
Yes, that
So
would
we'll
be
just, I'm just gonna jump through the rest. All.
I'll bring you a sharpener too for everyone.
You
That
know,
would be
the point
cool.
of these commercial minutes is just to like.
Yeah.
Get, so we have enough
Favorite.
like information that we can have good conversations. Come on, thank you. When I was gonna have you introduce Wally. So
Oh.
Wally's
See on the screen.
flesh is
there
welcome
he is.
Wally. Hi
Hi,
Wally.
Wally.
Wally is Cameron's executive coach, and he's a KW Maps coach, and he has a great
can't see
presentation
us.
for us today
Oh,
about how top agents think differently. So Wally, thank you for being here. We're gonna pass it over to you.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. Good to see you all. I love your room. You guys have a great room there. A lot of great energy.
Thank you.
Was that Corinne?
I said, thank you. And Wally, where are you based out of?
I'm out of Palm Springs, California. Actually, right now, I'm sitting up on Bainbridge Island looking at Puget Sound.
Rub it in.
So yeah, spend a little time up here in the Pacific Northwest this week. And I do have the pleasure of working with Cameron, as well as of a lot of top agents across Keller Williams. I am an executive coach with MAPS, which basically means about 80% of my schedule are in Gary's top 100, either as solo agents or as teams. So that's the world I get to live in. What's different about top agents versus everybody else? And the reality is they put their clothes on the same way the rest of us do. They start their days similar to the way they do, but they do think just a little bit different. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And just so we know, I have a hard stop at the top of the hour. And if you like what we talk about today and you want more, I'm more than happy to set up another session. So first, I'm just curious, in the Portland market, how would you characterize the 2026 Portland market residential as we're moving into the summer season? Is this a market of opportunity? Is this a market of transition? Are things getting better? Things getting worse? How would we characterize the Portland market as we move into the summer?
Got it out.
Getting better, opportunity,
Yeah, better.
opportunity.
You're a slight uptick,
Yeah.
slight uptick, getting better.
Room for improvement.
Room for improvement.
That's good. Trying to be positive here. Guarded.
So are we in a buyer's market, a seller's market, a neutral market?
Yeah.
Balance. Stay balanced.
It depends. It depends.
This one.
Very like two market.
Yeah.
You hear that tale of two markets.
Yes, very much so. So you most likely have pockets of your community where inventory is moving and you still have a few multiple offers. You got pockets of your community where, wow, I'm surprised that house hasn't sold yet. You got buyers sitting on the fence waiting for interest rates to come down, and sellers that seem to think their house is worth a whole lot more than what it is. Does that sound familiar?
Yes.
And so for real estate agents, what would you say is the number one thing that an agent needs to, if we had different things we could focus on? We can focus on market knowledge, we can focus on leverage, we can focus on marketing, we can focus on skill sets. What do you think is the top thing that we should be focused on moving into this summer? How do top agents think different than everybody else?
Healthy habits and activities.
Database.
Managing client expectations.
Okay. All right. So if I summarized it, I'll give you my take. And my take is this is a market where agent skills and agent urgency is going to trump everything else.
Urgency.
And the one difference between a top producer and everybody else, I got a text this morning from one of my clients back in the Midwest. And the Rainmaker sends me this text, and the Rainmaker's still in business, and basically says, "Hey, Wally, I need you to help me out with something with my team. I just got a call. I got a call late yesterday afternoon. I went out last night, signed the listing, put it under contract. Help me have my agents see that same level of urgency." So I'm like, okay, now this is interesting. Here's a Rainmaker who, as soon as the call came in, her instinct was to immediately go get that property on the market. And I think what I see different and what she sees different is her team isn't thinking that way. They want to go get prepared for the appointment. They want to go through all of the different steps and do all the things that they think need to be done, and they're not moving forward. I'll give you another example of the same thing about why is probably at the top of the list of how top agents think differently than other agents. So this is another call where we were sitting with the team and we were talking about working with buyers, and see if this resonates with anybody. Has anybody had a buyer that basically said, you met them at an open house, they want to make a move, and now they've said they want to wait? Anybody got that right now? Show of hands. 1, 2, 3, 4. Got a few. All right. So what do you do? What do you do when the buyer says, I want to wait? What's your
Ask questions, yeah.
Help me understand why you want to wait.
Asking the question.
Would anybody look at that person and say, you want to wait? That's like the worst thing you could possibly do.
We'll see. I know, that's what Mike would say. Yeah. One.
Why is that the worst possible thing they could do?
Because they're missing the market, they're missing a good time window.
Evaluating their house.
So when somebody says they want to wait, let's notice what they're doing. They're putting market conditions ahead of what they need. Now, in order for us to say that would be the worst possible thing that they could do, we would need to know something about them first. Why are they buying right now? Because if we're not completely clear on why they're buying, then we don't know whether this is the right time or the wrong time to buy. And sometimes we can get confused. So here's the point. The point is, be very aware of rabbit trails, bunny trails, smoke screens that people will throw at us that aren't in their best interest. So if I'm waiting for interest rates to come down and I'm moving because we're having a new baby, I don't know about the rest of you guys, about how the Portland market works, but that pregnancy doesn't get extended because interest rates went up, right? Still takes about 9 months to have a baby there, right?
Yeah.
And if I'm moving so I can get my children into the right school district, school still starts about the same time every year as it normally starts. We don't change the start date of school because interest rates changed, or because the market changed, or because there's less inventory or more inventory. Notice what's happening. So the question I want you to ask yourself is when a market shifts, am I looking at this as to how do I adjust so that I can keep my momentum and keep my business moving, or am I slowing down to match the market? Am I slowing down to match my clients? So there's 5 questions that I wanted to cover today, and I'm just going to go through those real quickly so we can go through these questions. And I would encourage you to write these questions down, and then we've got some thought exercises with these questions. So the first one is, what is the market teaching me? So what is today's market teaching you? What's different about real estate today than a year ago? Are consumers behaving the same way? Or are they behaving differently? Why are they behaving differently? So if I'm unclear of what the market's teaching me, then maybe I need to go back and share the market. Then that takes us to the next question. What is it that consumers are thinking? What are they struggling with right now? So as a real estate agent, I see the market a certain way, and here's the difference between top producers and average producers. Top producers look at a market and they ask themselves the question, the second question, and that is, how does the consumer see that market? My job then is to be able to interpret and bring them into the market that I see. Because here's the thing, if I want to make a move to better my family's life, then whether interest rates are 6%, 6.5%, or 5.5% really doesn't make that much difference. And if we start going down into that conversation, basically that person is putting that ahead of their family's well-being. Top producers are looking at how can I help my consumer based on today's market. Okay, the third question is, what is it people are avoiding? You can ask that a question of yourself. What is it that I am avoiding? Or what is it that I'm afraid of? Top producers, there's not much they're not afraid of. They take action first. They constantly move forward. And they're not allowing all of the noise around them to get in the way. Question number 4, what skills matter most today? So let's just stop on that one for a little bit. So we know what the market is. We know we got a bit of a mixed market. We know interest rates from the standpoint of consumers, they think it's a little high. And I would imagine there's at least a few of you in the room that have been through markets that have had higher interest rates than we have now. And we still bought and sold houses then, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've been in markets at 12.5%, and people were buying and selling houses then. And here's the funny thing. They weren't complaining about interest rates. And yet here we are today and we're complaining about it. It's just part of the equation. Okay. All right. So what skills matter most right now? So let's just take a moment and stay on that one. So I'm just curious from this room, what do you think the most important skill for an agent to have right now to survive in this market?
Speed and urgency.
Speed and urgency. Okay. Is that a skill or is that a way of being?
Probably more of a way of being.
Yeah, that's a little bit more of a way of being. Okay, what would be a skill?
Multitasking.
Say that again, please.
Multitasking. Doing multiple things at once. Multitasking.
Oh, multitasking. Well, if you've read Gary's book, The Shift, you might have a little different take on that.
Listening intently.
Ah, very good. All right, you get to move to the front of the class. The most important skill set right now for us is high-level listening skills. One of the things that I see that are different between top producers, average agents, and low producers. The best agents ask the best questions and are the best listeners. Their urgency is what I call patient urgency. So you've probably heard the old expression, we sell no wine before it's time. Some of you may have remember those TV commercials. So the point is, some things we need to allow some time to go on so we can create urgency. In other words, and we've probably heard Gary Keller say this, sometimes you have to go slow to speed up. So the skill set that this market sometimes will cause us not to remember is we need to be better listeners, we need to be patient, and then we need to focus on what's most important. So, is interest rate the most important thing? Is inventory the most important thing? Is timing the market the most important thing?
No.
Or is getting my family taken care of the most important thing? Having my child in the right school district, getting out of my large 2-story house and into a single-story house because my health just won't allow me to go up and down the stairs anymore. You see, what's happening when we listen very carefully, what we discover is our clients are operating at the snorkeling level, and we need to take them down to scuba diving and find out what's really gotten them into the market in the first place. Here's what I learned a long time ago. First as an agent and then working with top producers. If this person isn't having a conversation with you about buying or selling, then they are not in the market. If they are having that conversation, there's a thread that we can pull on to find out what the real motivation is. And our job is to listen for that, ask well-placed questions, so we now can provide the solution that matches what they want so that they can move forward. Are we asking enough questions? Are we listening up front? That's the most important skill set. And that's something, if you would want, we could definitely do a workshop on better questions, get better results.
Yes.
And then the last question is, who do I have to become based on today's situation? So I'll give you another example of this one. Who do I need to become? Let's say we're working with a buyer. And I'll see this a lot in calls, particularly when I worked with newer agents. Hey, I'm taking my buyer out and they're just not writing any offers. Has anybody ever worked with a buyer like that? Are there any buyers like that in the market right now?
A lot of head nods, yeah.
A lot of them like that. Okay. What do you do? How do you react to that? If they're just not buying, what do you do?
Ask them why.
Question, yeah.
So we ask questions. How many of you attempt to speed the process up?
All of us. Yes.
How do you do that? How do you speed the process up?
Clarity, asking questions, making them, understand the process and where they're at.
Remind them of their why. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would set the stage beforehand and say, we're gonna see 5 properties today. Here are the properties. Anything, we're gonna rate all of them on a scale of 1 to 10. Anything that's an 8 or above, we're gonna write a property on. And then anything between 5 and 8, we're gonna discuss as to what could make it anything to an 8 and above. Sound like a plan? And then I would set the stage beforehand.
Okay. Can we add one more thing to that?
Yeah.
Okay. So I love that. We're going to look at 5 properties today. I'm going to ask you to rate them on a scale of 0 to 10. When we come back, and we're going to pick the best property out of those and move forward with an offer. Are you okay with that?
Move forward.
Yeah, I like that.
That's more.
Yes, that's ever.
Has anybody done that?
He will.
Now, again, this is one of those places on what do people selling the most houses do versus the ones that don't. So this reminds me of a buyer I worked with a number of years ago, and the buyer said basically they wanted to sell more houses. So we started looking at the process they were using of working with their buyers. And I said, on average, how many showings does it take before you get the buyer to write an offer? Let's do a quick poll of the room. On average, how many showings would you say a typical buyer needs to look at before you get an offer written?
10, 7,
7-ish.
6, 7, 8.
6, 7. You did not. You did not.
God.
Okay. Anybody more than 10?
More than 10?
Yeah.
Not-
Anybody?
Not on average, but they have been clients for sure. Come on.
Okay. How would it feel if your average was that 80% of your buyers bought the first time you took them out? You typically showed them around 5 homes. And of the 20% that didn't buy when you took them out the first time, 80% bought the second time you took them out. Would that change anybody's business in the room? And would that be better or worse?
Better.
Okay. All right. So who's setting the agenda for how many homes we show a buyer and whether they write an offer the first time we take them out or the second time or the third time or the fifth time? Who sets that agenda? Okay. Now I know you all basically pretty well said us, but I wanted to ask yourself, is that really how I'm running my business?
No.
Thank you. Thank you. We got one honest person in the room.
Yeah, I should, but I certainly don't.
Okay, so the question you want to ask yourself, what's stopping me from doing that?
I'm afraid to get a no. I'm afraid to come on too strong. I don't want to upset the clients. I want them to feel in control.
Okay, so let's do a little role reversal. So if I can be direct, so it's okay if they upset you. It's okay if you get frustrated. It's okay if you're disappointed. It's okay if you work more hours than you want to work in order to meet it. That's okay.
No, I totally get the point. It's just like it's gonna take practice, at least for me. I also try to think about the more I can set the agenda and the more I can run the happenings that makes me be perceived more of an advisor and expert too. Because certainly my attorney tells me what the agenda is when I come into his office.
Yeah. So I want you to imagine going to your doctor's office on your next doctor's appointment. And your doctor's going to behave like a typical real estate agent is. And they're gonna do this one of two ways. They're going to be the pushy doctor and they're going to look at you. You're going to come in the room. They're not going to do your blood pressure. They're not going to do your temperature. They're going to have you walk in. They're going to, you know what? There's a lot of flu going around. So here's some medicine. I want you to take this and come back and see me next week. No diagnosis whatsoever. How many of you would want to go back to that doctor again? Okay. The other doctor, who's also got a background of training in real estate agent. They've been watching their real estate agent and they go, oh, wait, no, I know how this works. So what do you think you have? Well, what do you think would be a good medicine you should take? Well, I mean, if you don't really want to take this medicine, that's okay. I mean, there's other medicines we have. In fact, if you just want to go home and think about the different medicines that we have, and maybe next week we can get together and we'll go look at some new medicines together. How many of you would go back to that doctor? Isn't it interesting when we take it out of context of real estate, you're going, Wally, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
We have no doctors so far.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to suggest. And again, this is one of the differences between top agents and average agents. Top agents think and act more like doctors than they do real estate agents. They understand the first thing I need to do is diagnose. Diagnostics is observation and asking questions and doing testing. That's what our doctor does. Look at you, they take your temperature, they weigh you every time. I'm like to my doctor, what did you think I suddenly got taller? I've been this height for a long time. Okay. Now I understand maybe my weight might fluctuate between my last visit 6 months ago. I might have put a couple 100 pounds on between the last visit and this visit, but you could probably see that. But it's really important that the doctor does that diagnostics every single time because they're looking at trend lines. So our job is, what is our diagnostics? Our diagnostics are, why are they moving? What's important to them? What's this going to help them accomplish? How are they going to feel when they accomplish these things? What is it that they don't like about where they are? Because by the way, if they don't have a pain of where they are, then the probability of moving is slim and none. See, most people don't move for pleasure, they move to escape pain. And most real estate agents are on the pleasure side of the equation. So we're on the wrong side of the equation. All right, so let's go back to our buyer for just a moment. And I'm going to leave you with a little script that you can use. And the script basically goes like this. May I share how I work? Now, in all the years I've done this, there might be once or twice where the buyer said, nope, you can't share. Most of the time they say, yeah, please share how you work. So I start off with, I'm going to share some data. I'm not going to tell them about how wonderful I am and, how I'm with the best real estate company in the world and how I've got trophies, and they don't give a about that. They care about themselves and they want to understand the best path forward. So may I share how I work? 80% of the people I work with as buyers buy a property the first appointment we make to go show property. We typically look at between 3 and 8 and average about 5 properties. So how does that sound for you? Would you like to be part of the 80% that buys, or would you prefer to be part of the 20% that doesn't buy? Now, isn't it interesting? Notice what we just did. We put them in competition with themselves. Well, I don't want to be part of the 20% that doesn't buy. Actually, the reason I'm hiring you is I do want to buy. Okay, fantastic. So here's the way this is going to work. We're going to go out, we're going to look at property, and I love that. We're going to look at 5 properties a day. We're going to rate them from 0 to 10. Then we're going to put them in priority order. And when we come back, we're going to take a look at our top 2 properties, and then we'll make a decision. Do we want to write an offer on both of those? Do we want to write an offer on one of those? Or is it possible that as your agent, I've misunderstood and I haven't found you the right house to buy? Notice where I took the responsibility there. As your agent, I misunderstood and I didn't find you the right house to buy. Does that work for you? And what do you think most buyers are going to say? No, that doesn't work for me. Did that sound pushy? So for those of you that are struggling a little bit and going, I'm not sure, I'm going to encourage you to start taking a phrase like this. May I share with you how I work? 80% of my buyers. Now, if you're not there yet, we can shift the dialogue. My goal, let me share how I work. My goal is to listen carefully and understand roughly right now, about how many homes are available in the greater Portland market right now, would you say? Two properties, 1,000 properties?
1,000, yeah. At least.
Okay, so I would go like this. So let me share how I work. Right now in the greater Portland market, there's roughly 1,000 homes that are on the market, and I'm making these numbers up. If I had access to your MLS, we could figure this one out in about 2 seconds. There's about 1,000 homes on the market. Now, what I understand is you're looking specifically for a 2-bedroom, 3-bath home. You'd like it to be between 1,500 and 1,800 square feet. You'd like it to be in this particular part of town, ideally in one of these 3 school districts, in this price point. In those marketplaces, in those school districts, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, in that price point, of those 1,000, there's right now 20 properties that are for sale. Of those 20 properties, 10 of those need serious repair. Are you looking for a fixer-upper? No. All right. Should we eliminate those? Yes. All right. Of the 10 that are left, 2 of those are properties that, based on their location and what you've told me, probably wouldn't be the best location. Should we eliminate those? Okay, now we've got 8 left. We can look at those 8, or we could narrow it down to the top 5. Which would you rather do? Now, the probability is within those top 5, your perfect home exists. So you notice how the dialogue has set them up to understand, I know the market, there's 1,000 homes. I know the market for you, there's 20. Of these 20, 10 of them you just plain don't want. They need repairs, they need this, so can we eliminate those? So notice what we're doing. We're helping that consumer being able to funnel all the way down. My job is to show you the best 5 properties that are available in the market today to meet your needs. So if they don't write an offer, then that means they're not a buyer for today's market. Or I haven't done my job. So we'll wrap up here. A couple things I want you to think about. How you approach things, you're the lead. You have the opportunity to guide this person based on the dialogue and script. If you're taking people out more than 2 times and you're showing them more than probably 15 properties, you're overworking. Have a system and explain your system to them. Here's what's going to happen. Again, think like the doctor. Now, in my lifetime, I've had some surgery. One of the things that I appreciated in the surgery was the doctor told me exactly what was going to happen. You show up at this time of the morning, then you're going to do prep. Then we're going to wheel you into the operating room. The surgery will take about this long. Then you'll wake up. Me a lot more comfortable. When we describe the same thing to our clients and we show them the outcome and how that's going to get them the best property that's available in this market today, then they're going to want to write an offer. If they don't, then there's a misunderstanding about the timing. So, quick summary, most important skill set to work on now is urgency, patience to find out what they need, place their needs ahead of market conditions, and move them into action. And now you're thinking like a top producer. I wish we had some more time. I'd love to do something a little more interactive. And if you like this idea of how do I get buyers off the fence? What are the scripts and dialogues? I do have a workshop we could do on that. That would probably be something we would do not on a meeting day. So Corinne, if that's something that makes sense for you, you and I could talk and see, are there some workshops or trainings that we could do specific to what some of the challenges are, whether that's days on market with your listings and pricing, whether that's getting buyers off the fence, whether that's cancellations once you've got something under contract. Those are some of the major issues we're working on right now. So any of those kind of things, just reach out, Corinne, and I'd be happy to do that. I trust you got some value out of today. And I wish we had a little more time, guys, but unfortunately, I've got a client waiting.
Thank you.
All right, y'all. Have a great rest of the day. And Corinne, I hope to talk to you soon.
Yes, for sure. Thanks, Wally.
Thank you. Bye-bye.